From being the two most reliable automakers in the industry to having the most unreliable engines in history, from excessive oil consumption to oil dilution, and even blown head gaskets. Here are the 10 most unreliable engines Toyota and Honda have ever made. If you're in the market for a new Toyota or Honda, be sure to avoid our number one pick from both, which we'll share at the end, so stick around. Now, let's steer into the woes. Both Japanese automakers are undoubtedly market leaders and have been dependable choices for a long time. This is partly because these two companies have a good track record. But you need to be noticed if you're costing the car owner hundreds and thousands in engine fixes. So, without further ado, let's look at the most unreliable engines from Toyota and Honda. Let's start with something that's old but bronze, not gold. That's the Toyota 3-liter 3VZE V6 engine. Introduced in 1988, it's one of the worst Japanese engines to ever exist. It was used in the Toyota pickup and 4Runner models, producing a measly 150 horsepower and 180 pound-feet of torque. But that's not the worst part. The 3VZE has a reputation for being bumpy in long drives, and while the cast iron block may offer some strength, it's paired with an aluminum cylinder head that causes severe head gasket issues. Imagine driving on the highway and suddenly your car starts leaking coolant or oil, leading to a catastrophic engine failure. On top of that, other problems include failing timing belts and need replacing every 80 to 100,000 miles, burnt exhaust valves, and failing starter contacts. Can you imagine being stranded on the side of the road, unable to start your car due to a failed starter contact, or having your car's engine choke due to a burnt exhaust valve? It's a nightmare that you should never have to face. So if you're looking for a reliable car, steer clear of any model with this engine under the hood. Now we come to Honda's horrendous engine, which was proudly labeled as the Honda 1.5-liter Earth Dream 4-cylinder engine. Equipped with a laundry list of technologies, this engine becomes the source of the mysterious gas odors in the cabin. It's like driving a washing machine. Imagine driving down the road and all you can smell is gasoline fumes. You're trapped in your car, gasping for fresh air, and all you can think of is how much you regret buying this car. Why the odor, you ask? Well, it's because the engine uses GDI, or gasoline direct injection, to improve fuel economy and increase horsepower. The problem with GDI motors is that they inject gas into the engine via a high-pressure fuel pump, causing some fuel to blow by the piston rings and mix with the engine oil. The oil's viscosity is compromised, leading to long-term damage to the engine components. Imagine driving down the road and hearing a weird noise coming from your engine. You take your car to the mechanic, and they tell you that your engine is damaged beyond repair due to oil dilution. That's when your Earth Dream engine becomes an earthly nightmare. Although Honda tried to downplay the engine's issues, they eventually extended the engine warranty to cover the inevitable engine breakdowns caused by oil dilution. So technically they didn't fix the engine, they just gave you an extension on the time you spend at the mechanic. That's no consolation for the thousands of car owners who have already faced this problem. Plus, if you really want something that's the Earth Dream, go electric. Now, this next disappointment comes from Toyota's most beloved lineup, the Toyota Supra. This incredible lineup was unfortunately packing the Toyota 3-liter turbocharged 7M GTE inline-6 engine. While it may seem like the perfect engine for a Supra, think again. The 7M GTE's reputation for unreliability stems from a factory defect that caused the engine to fail catastrophically. You see, Toyota originally planned to use an asbestos-containing head gasket for the engine. But a ban on asbestos products in the automotive industry put a wrench in those plans. With little time to conduct thorough research, Toyota decided to use an asbestos-free head gasket instead. But it was a tragic mistake. Under stress, the head gasket would crumble, causing oil and coolant to mix and leading to rod bearing failures. It's especially devastating when you consider that the 7M GTE was intended for use in the iconic Toyota Supra. Don't let the allure of the MK3 Toyota Supra blind you to the 7M GTE's dark history of unreliability. Honda 3.5-liter J3 5Z8 V6 engine. To those of you who've met any owners of Honda's Accord, Pilot, or Odyssey, they all together complain about the Honda's 3.5-liter J3 5Z8 engine. Don't let the car's popularity fool you, because this engine is a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. One of the most common complaints from J35Z8 owners is its inevitable thirst for oil, which leads to frequent spark plug replacements and leaves drivers feeling stranded on the side of the road. That means your engine will be burning more oil than a teenager with a vape. But it gets worse. According to a class action lawsuit against Honda, over 1.5 million vehicles equipped with the J35Z8 engine suffered from excessive oil consumption, and the Japanese automaker allegedly hid this fact from customers. Honda initially denied these allegations, but eventually settled the lawsuit, offering an extended powertrain warranty for 8 years from the time of purchase for the affected models. Once again, extend your stay at the mechanic. Toyota 1.8-liter 1ZZ-FE engine. Now, this next engine is luckily out of circulation, but it's worth the mention. This is the Toyota 1.8-liter 1ZZ-FE engine. This naturally aspirated inline-4 engine has been around since 1998 and remained in production until 2008. It produced a measly 120 to 130 horsepower and 122 to 126 pound-feet of torque. But that's the least of its problems. Because of a design flaw with the piston and piston rings, the car owners reported the engine guzzling oil like it was going out of style. The small pistons and larger piston rings were no match for the wear and tear of regular use, allowing excess oil to leak through the rings. That's right, the engine is thirsty for oil, and it's not going to be quenched anytime soon. Back then, if someone was driving a pre-2006 model, they were out of luck because the excess oil consumption issue wasn't addressed until 2005, and Toyota only gave a 6-year or 100,000-mile warranty. As for the other common issues with the 1ZZ-FE, you can expect a failing timing chain tensioner and engine control module. Overall, the Toyota 1ZZ-FE is just one of those engines that have never quite lived up to its promise, leaving drivers stranded and frustrated. Now, this next engine is going to hurt a lot, just because it was found in the most popular Honda out there, the Civic. In fact, it powered many Honda models, including the Integra, Del Sol, CRX, and HR-V. We're talking about the Honda D16 inline-4 engine. However, earlier versions of this engine came with a multitude of problems like oil leaks, engine misfires, and rough idling. Then, the worn exhaust manifolds and crankshaft issues became common culprits, and these kinds of repairs will leave you with a hefty bill. So, we recommend not letting this engine leave you with a sour taste in your mouth and a hole in your wallet. Now, we come to Toyota and the engine that ran the 2008 to 2010 Corolla. That's right, it's the infamous Toyota 2ZR FE engine, and it's not pretty. The engine replaced the 1ZZ-FE in 2007 and made its way into popular models like the Prius, Scion, and Matrix. But don't be fooled by its widespread use, because this engine has an insatiable appetite for oil consumption, caused by faulty piston rings that allow oil to seep into the combustion chamber and burn alongside the normal air-fuel mixture. So not only will you be burning oil like wildfire, but you'll also be polluting the environment with all that smoke. Then, the 2ZR-FE also had a known issue with its coolant pump, which tends to fail when the engine reaches about 30,000 miles. So not only are you burning oil, but now you're also risking overheating and permanent engine damage. And if you thought that was it, think again. Post-2007 engines by Toyota had a problem with their valve metric system, caused by dirt entering the intake manifold. So not only are you burning oil and risking engine damage from overheating, but now you have to deal with poor engine performance. That's too much of a headache for an old engine. So if you're considering a car with a 2ZR FE engine, think once, twice, and even thrice, and don't say we didn't warn you. The 2006 to 2009 Honda R18 inline-4 engine. Coming back to Honda and one of the oldest but most reliable Civics, the 2005 model. It came with the Honda R18 inline-4 engine. It made its debut in the 8th generation Honda Civic, but it caused more headaches than your ex on a bad day. You see, there's this issue where the engine block tends to crack, allowing coolant to leak out and causing the engine to overheat. And if that's not bad enough, hundreds of unlucky owners have complained about the same problem, which costs a whopping $7,000 to repair. Ouch! But wait, there's more. The engine block issue has become so prevalent that junkyards are overflowing with discarded Honda Civics with blown engines. It's like a graveyard for Honda Civics, all because of a faulty engine block. Sure, Honda sent out some warranty extension letters back in 2014, but those warranties have since expired, leaving Civic owners stranded with cracked engine blocks and no one to turn to. And don't even think about buying a 2006 to 2009 Civic, unless you want to throw your money down the drain. Our last pick of the most unreliable engine in a Toyota is here. First, if we were to ask you the most popular Toyota of all time, you'd probably say Camry, right? Turns out, it earned its position at the top after some hit and miss with the engine. The Camry used to have the Toyota 3-liter 1MZ FE V6 engine, and it was just a matter of time before it got removed. If oil leaks and engine sludge buildup are tolerable to you, which they shouldn't be, then the faulty NOx sensor will definitely put you away. Of course, Toyota tried to address these problems, but it was too little too late. This engine had already earned a reputation for being unreliable, and the lawsuits and recalls speak for themselves. Also, its EGR system is also known to cause issues with poor gas mileage and pungent gas odor inside and outside the car. Imagine filling up your tank only to watch the gas gauge drop like a rock after a few miles of driving. Plus, the smell of gasoline can be overpowering, making for an unpleasant driving experience. Now, we have our last pick of the most unreliable engine by Honda, and it's the Honda 2.2-liter F22B inline-4 engine. The F-Series engine may have boasted Honda's revolutionary VTEC technology, but the F22B is a different story. If you're brave enough to use this engine, be prepared for oil leaks caused by worn gaskets and faulty oil seals, leaving you with a slippery mess. And let's not forget the transmission issues that plague this engine. Delayed shifting, slipping gears, and transmission failure. This is one car whose engine problems destroy everything else. It's like a brain getting corrupted by social media. Also, the F22B engine also likes to misfire, causing a rough ride and potentially dangerous driving conditions. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, the crankshaft is prone to wear and tear, which means you'll be shelling out some serious cash for repairs at around 100,000 miles. If you're still considering the F22B, don't. Just please don't. The lesson here is to jot down these engine names, and the next time you go for a Toyota or Honda, you bring these names up and go for what's best. If you want us to talk about some reliable engines, be sure to let us know in the comments section below. And if you've been a victim to one of these engines, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.